Okay, this project is 2.5. Just make sure that you're logging into MyWillMU. You use the link to go into Canvas. Once you're in Canvas, make sure you're at the dashboard. You go into the correct course. You use the McGraw-Hill SimNet link. And then once you're in this, you would make sure you're in the assignments, and it's the third group, which is the projects, and then you click on the 2.5. Remember that you just, again, follow the same procedure. When you click on this, down the left-hand corner, you populate in your window, and then once the Excel spreadsheet's in your window, you click on Enable Editing, and immediately go to Files, Save As, and then Browse, and then click on wherever you're going to save it, and then rename it. Okay, so I already have mine up and running. So I have it named as Excel Project 2.5. So that will take care of 1, 2, and 3. Now, number 4, it wants you to go to New Prices, and I'm going to do the work in number 4, 5, and 6, and then I'm going to explain the concept to you. So let's first just start performing, and then I'll explain everything to you. So what they want you to do is double-click, and then you're going to insert your dollar symbol before the 4. Now, we talked about absolute cell referencing. Absolute cell referencing requires a dollar symbol before the letter and the number, but if you only have one dollar symbol in that cell address, that means that it's mixed cell referencing. And we're going to get into that concept, but for now, let's just perform the steps. So we insert a dollar symbol. We're going to check mark that, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to double click. We're going to convert our mouse pointer first to that solid black cross, and we double click. It knows where to stop because it recognizes when it's going into an empty cell. Okay, and then make sure that you select Fill Without Formatting because we want to preserve our borders. And then we're going to now go over top of this green square and convert our mouse pointer to that black cross, and we're going to drag it over in this direction. And again, Fill Without Formatting. Okay, now we're going to go over here to this, and this would be number 6, and it's going to explain to us about this formula that we're going to type out, which is equals, and then our open parentheses, 1 plus, and then it's F dollar symbol 4, end parenthesis, times, and then we're going to have it go over, oops, sorry, make sure I do this. So equals 1 plus F dollar symbol 4 times, and we want it to go over to our fleet worksheet, and make sure you have your exclamation point, and when it's over there we want it to go to I5. So don't let your set of instructions confuse you. When you look at 6D and the instructions are click on cell, it's I5. It's not 15, it's I. So just make sure you pay attention to 6A versus 6F. When you look down at 6F and you look at the range F5 colon F19, you'll see what the number 1 looks like versus the I in your set of instructions. Okay, so, and they want a dollar symbol before the letter I, so let me go ahead and insert that. So that's our next formula. So once we press enter, same procedure, we're going to double click, copy it down, convert our mouse pointer again, and we're going to drag it over. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all of these numbers, and I am going to, oops, I'm sorry, let me undo that again. So let me double click down. Now let me select Fill Without Formatting. Let me drag it over once I convert my mouse pointer, and then let me select that option again, Fill Without Formatting. Okay, now that I have all my borders correct, let me highlight that range, and I'm going to go to my Home tab, and I'm going to apply the currency cell style. Now it all looks like money. Okay, now here's what I want to do. I want to click on Formulas, and I'm going to temporarily show these formulas by clicking on this button. So I wanted to show you the concept, why there's a dollar symbol in front of the 4 and not the D. Because if you think about it, when you copy down in this direction, you're in column D anyhow. So we wanted to make sure that it didn't, it remained on this 0.05 to be calculated in every single row of those formulas. So this, no matter when you drag it down, even though you don't have a dollar symbol right there, the D never changed because you are in column D. So no matter what, this formula will always refer to this 0.05. Same concept here. So when we copied over in this direction, this D did change to an E. but when we go down in this direction, it doesn't affect it in any way. So that's what eventually comes to you intuitively. So now when we look at this fleet worksheet, we'll take a look over there. So we have H5 and I5. See, the column doesn't change, but the row does. And that's how we're going to grab our data for each formula. Again, I know this is a hard concept. It will eventually come to you when you spend the time developing worksheets week after week, month after month on the job. It'll eventually come to you, but we want you to see the difference between absolute cell referencing and mixed cell referencing. But most of the time, you're always just going to apply absolute cell referencing. So I'm going to click on Show Formulas to turn that back off so we can go back and see our return values. So that's all of number 5 and 6. Now let's go back to, okay, so now let's go to number 7. We're going to insert an if function. So the if function is going to be on this fleet worksheet, and we're going to determine, so we're going to create one if function, and then we're going to copy it down, and we're going to determine if it seats 8 or more, then we know it has a stove. So these 3 right here should return the word no. So let's start setting up our if function. If you type equals and you type the word if, here it is down below. It's double click on it to get it into editing mode. And then our evaluation is whatever's sitting here in E5. So just watch over here as I'm building it, is if it is whatever that number is, if it's greater than or equal to the number 8, comma, then we return the word yes. It has a stove, comma, else we're going to return the word no. And then end parenthesis and press enter. So let me double click on that again. You can see the statement is if statement. Here's our condition. That's our first argument. If it's true, it'll return the word yes. If it's false, it will return the word no. So we press enter, and let me get back to its regular width. Now I'm going to go ahead and copy this function down. And if you look, and then I'm going to make sure I select fill without formatting so I don't copy those borders all the way down. And if you look, these seat 6, so I should have the word no return. And I do believe with all these yeses and nos, if you go back to the Home tab, you click on the center alignment, it will center those words in the middle of your cells. So that is number 7. Now number 8, we're going to do the same thing we did in a previous video. We're returning our computer time, but this time we're just going to return the date using a today function. And they want us to go down to the cell B21, and we're going to type equals and start typing out the word today. And you'll see it populate below, and you can double click. And remember this, you don't have to do anything but press enter, and it returns the computer date. Now we're going to have to go up here to our number dialog box. Let's click on that arrow to get it up and running. And once that dialog box opens, we're going to, sorry, it takes a second. We're going to select the date category, and then we're going to go over here and scroll down until we find that style that they want us to apply. And here's a preview of it once you highlight it. And if you select OK, the change will occur. All right, that's number 8. Now, number 9, they want us to go over to this bookings worksheet. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to create a formula. So to come up with a revenue per passenger, all we have to do is take this total fee amount and divide it by this number of passengers. So let's go ahead and type that out. So we always start with an equal sign. I'm going to use my point and click method. I'm going to go to my keyboard. That symbol there means division, and I'm going to click on this number here. So that's my formula per my set of instructions that will come up with my revenue per passenger. We take my total fees and divide it out by my number of passengers. I'm going to check mark it, and I'm going to double click once I convert my mouse pointer. So let me show that to you again. Over top of this green square, and it becomes that solid black cross. Double click, and it will copy that formula down. So now once we copy that formula down, I'm sure we're going to apply some kind of formatting. It doesn't look like we will. We will in number 12 though. In number 12A, it'll instruct us to apply the currency style. So I'm just going to apply it for right now. Okay, so now we're going to move on to number 10. Now number 10 is a COUNTIF function. Now this COUNTIF function, what that does is it looks like we're going to go through, and this is where we're going to return it and develop it. So it's going to look at this column here, and every time it finds this word right here, it's going to count like you do on your fingers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now how do we set that up? So, and they're telling you right here, this is what we're searching for. So let's start typing it out. Equals count, and then if, here it is. I'm going to double click on it. Now it's in editing mode for a function. Now I'm going to tell it where it's going to start searching. Well, it's going to search within this range right here. I'm going to start from C5 down to the last row of data, which is 19. And we can see it populate. And remember, when it's a searchable range like that, it always has to be an absolute cell referencing. So make sure you start including those dollar symbols. Okay, now comma for my next argument. So my next argument is, okay, well, when we're in this range, what are we looking for? Well, you can see the first three letters, the BEN. It doesn't matter what happens afterwards because we're going to use a wildcard character. So since it's characters, don't forget your quotations and a BEN, and here's our wildcard character. And what this wildcard is saying, and anything that follows after that meets the criteria, but the first three letters must be BEN to count it. So again, we're using the COUNTIF function. Okay, so once we're done that, you just want to make sure that you end the parenthesis and press enter. So we have 5. Now I know we could visually just look and say, oh, well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But in the real world, you're going to have thousands of rows. So let me show you a shortcut. Now, if we just copy that down, we can recycle this. If you copy it down and go to Formulas and click on Show Formulas, and then if I temporarily open up this column width, we can go down and we can double click to go into editing mode, and I can backspace this out, and then now I'm going to grab these first three characters, which is CAP, and then I'll go down to this one, double click, and then I type out CAT, because remember this is CAT. Now we'll go down to this last one, double click, and then this one is HUN. So now when I press enter to accept the change, turn that button back off, you can see now we have the count for each item. Alright, so now we're going to do that over here. We're going to use a SUMIF function. Okay, the same thing, start typing it out, double click to get it activated. Now the SUMIF function, we're going to go up here and we're saying this is our searchable data. Okay, that's searchable data. We'll make sure that's all absolute cell referencing. Once it's there, the first three letters, BEN, with your wildcard, double quotations. But here we're saying, but once you find that, then let's go over into this column and grab those numbers if it meets this criteria. And don't forget, we need absolute cell referencing because that range cannot change. You end your parenthesis and you press enter, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to convert a mouse pointer, drag it down, and then I know it's repeating itself, but we're going to click on Show Formulas, and we're going to go and open this up, and we're going to change all three of these criteria. And I just want to pause the video so I could go back and remember this is CAP. It's based on these right here, CAT, HUN. So I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to double click, or maybe pull it back over to get back to normal size. And then I know all of these must be set to currency. And this is all in number 12, your formatting. It'll explain to you everything that you have to format. So that's all of number 11. Now number 12 is all formatting. I only have 36 seconds left of video time, but it's going to tell you things like it's going to merge and center this stuff. This stuff is going to be a matter of all borders. And then you're going to do the same thing up here. You're going to do stuff where you're going to change the font style. And then you're going to do something like this where you're going to have to center this across the selection. So I think you'll be okay with all the formatting in number 12. I'm sorry, it was supposed to be center